Hi guys, welcome back on board of the Crypto Cruiser. It's me Chris, and today we're going to talk about Bitcoin chart, some potential targets, where Bitcoin is heading. Of course, we're going to talk some traditional markets such as S&P 500 and how I was able to predict every single move. But let's just start with the Bitcoin chart. And since I launched my channel, I was able to predict prices from 70,000. Then we're going to have a huge drop to prices below 50,000. Then from 50,000, I told you that we're gonna have a local top at 65,000. From 65,000, I posted over 20 warning videos between the period of 23rd of August to 6th of September that we're gonna jump to price of around 52,000. And then I've told you that from 52,000, we're gonna go to price of around 77,000. And from that moment on, it will depend if we're gonna crush the markets and we're gonna go and we're gonna snap out of this huge yearly resistance line that we had. It acted as resistance in April of 2021. We actually acted as a resistance in November of 2021 at its previous all-time high this year in March of 2024, and we snap out of it. And I mean, we have full control of the bull. The bulls have absolutely full control of the markets, so I anticipate higher prices. And I've told you, I mean, I gave you two scenarios that potentially we can correct, or the other scenario was to snap on the upside. I mean, you always have to be level-headed. You always have to be open-minded because no one can predict the future. At the end of the day, that's why this chart analysis in the very short term. Once again, guys, everything I'm saying in this video, it is not a financial advice. It's for pure entertainment purposes. And before you do anything, do your diligence and make your own research. Now, saying all that, what I anticipate in the immediate short term. So prices were, I mean, we couldn't go above 90,000. Now we are just consolidating below these prices. In my personal opinion, the bulls have the absolute strength, so we can push the prices a bit further than that. I think potentially we can go to price of around 93, 94,000. And when everyone is expecting to go above 100,000, we actually start correcting and start dropping prices below even below 80,000. So this is what I'm anticipating in the months to come. So basically November, December, January, February, basically to consolidate between price of around 95 and 80,000. Just consolidate, and by the end of January, we're gonna have a huge upside momentum to start testing price of around 109,000. Once we reach these prices, potentially we can drop down. But let's just talk about the S&P 500 because these markets, they're very much correlated. The traditional markets and the crypto markets, in my personal opinion, they're very much correlated. So since I launched my channel, I've told you right here that I anticipate a correction which will be healthy for the overall trend. Of course, along the way, we need corrections because nothing goes in a straight up line. So that's what we had. We had an ABC regular correction, nothing more than the extraordinary. And I've told you guys that I anticipate a huge V-shaped recovery. I mean, you can turn by some of my videos. Everything has been documented. You clearly see it's there. I've told you huge V-shaped recovery. And once we start testing almost all-time high price of around 5,650, I told you that it will be healthy for the overall trend to actually come back and test this huge previous resistance line. Acted twice as previously as resistance here, middle of July at its previous all-time high, and also end of July and beginning of August of 2024. That's what we did. We came back, we tested this huge resistance line, we turned it to support, and then we had the continuation of the trend on the upside. And I've told you guys, once we drop to these prices, I said I anticipate a huge bounce, and in the process we actually formed a reverse head and shoulders which measured from the head to the bottom. The price target should be above 6,250. So this is where I'm anticipating S&P 500 to actually go. So right now we hit price of around 6,000. I don't think this correction will last very long. Right now potentially we can drop to price of around 5,870. We find a bottom, and then we're gonna have the continuation of the trend and start hitting price of above 6,250. I'm not gonna be surprised at all if we overshoot and start testing prices of around 6,000 and 6,500 and above to test this huge resistance line. I mean, we just have to take it one trade at a time. I don't want to predict the future so far ahead. We're just dealing with the charts in the short term, but potentially I'm not going to be surprised at all. So basically, this whole structure is extremely bullish. I don't think there's any reason for concern, and I anticipate higher prices for S&P 500 and for the traditional markets such as Nasdaq and Russell 2000 and Dow Jones Industrial. Right here, as you can clearly see, we had a huge correction as well, over 17% between the period of end of July and end of October. But of course, I didn't launch my channel then. I didn't have my YouTube channel then. But I already knew. I mean, of course, dealing with theory probabilities, we were setting up higher highs and higher lows. And according to, I mean, that's just textbook bullish chart pattern. And I anticipated a huge bounce on the upside. While all these big YouTubers were calling for a bear market, we had a huge upside momentum. And that's exactly what we had here. There were a lot of people calling for a bear market, but nothing of that happened. We had a huge bounce, and now we're above 6,000. I mean, we already hit above 6,000, and potentially we go to 6,250. Perhaps we'll correct. We'll drop to price of around 6,000 again, and then we're gonna have another snap on the upside. Start testing price of above 6,600. This is just my view. Of course, this is not a financial advice. As I've said, this is for pure entertainment purposes. And before you do anything, do your diligence and make your own research. But let's just get back to the Bitcoin chart and what I've told you guys. Right here, we snap out of this huge yearly resistance line. So that's extremely bullish. We haven't done that ever. And now we're in price discovery. So what do we anticipate? To start correcting immediately? I mean, it's possible, of course. Dealing with theory probabilities, everything is possible. But my personal opinion, that the bulls have the strength, they have the full control of these markets, and they can actually push the prices of above 93, 94,000. And while everyone else is anticipating and expecting price of above 100,000, this is the moment we'll correct and probably will come back and test this huge previous yearly resistance line, return into support. And perhaps we can go even below 80,000 for a brief short period of time, and then we can have, after we test this huge yearly resistance line, we turn into support, and then we can potentially go above 100, around $109,000, and then we're gonna have a huge correction. In my personal opinion, a huge correction, but that'll be March of next year, late Q1 of next year. Perhaps we can have a huge correction, ABC correction, and come back to these prices of around 70,000 that I've told you I anticipated to come back and retest, that we never actually tested, and we just had a huge upside momentum. Sooner than later, in my personal opinion, we'll come back and test, but this will not symbolize that we're in the bear market and that the bull market is over. This is just gonna be, in my personal opinion, a correction. Once we hit 70,000, of course, this is going to be long far in the future. I'm saying this can potentially play out in March of 2025, 5 months from now. We'll find the bottom, and then we're going to have the continuation of the trend, and I anticipate way higher prices for Bitcoin, potentially over 120, 140,000. Why not? I mean, these are just in the charts. I think this huge consolidation between the period of March of 2024 and almost end of October, beginning of November, we were consolidating between these prices of around between 50 and 70,000 for a very long time, over 10 months, around 10 months, and that will be very healthy for the overall trend and the continuation of the trend on the upside, because that actually relieved, in my personal opinion, the markets, and now we have more upside momentum to go for higher prices. Once again, guys, thank you all. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate everyone subscribing to my YouTube. Please do it. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, please do it. It's for absolutely free. I appreciate all the lovely comments, all the support. And if you really want to support my work, you can subscribe to my Patreon. You can get my crypto guidebook, over 60 pages filled with very useful information for this bull cycle. And of course, my other book, The Art of Chart Analysis, how to become a sophisticated trader and to gain quite a lot of knowledge, in my personal opinion, in this chart analysis. And of course, once you subscribe, with this subscription comes Patreon exclusive content with the most underappreciated, undervalued coins out there, with some 50, 100x potential. Of course, that's not a financial advice. Once again, guys, thank you all. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see each other later on. Goodbye.